Hello and welcome to FPL Mates, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today I've got for you a Gameweek 25 buy, sell, keep, avoid transfer video right up in your faces to help you out with some of your transfers decisions for this game week. Really interesting one because not only have we got a double game week, this game week Leeds versus Southampton, but of course next game week we're gonna have a few more double game weeks as well, which we need to consider when making our transfer moves this game week. So there's going to be plenty of talk about potential doubles, potential blanks, all that kind of stuff like that. We're going to be talking about it in this video today when we talk about our transfer advice. So if you do enjoy what you see today, please do make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new around here. This is my favorite series I make on this channel. It really is, and I think it's probably the best one as well. So keep up that support, guys. We really do love it. So before we get started, a quick note from our sponsors today, which are of course OneFootball. Now, for those of you who don't know what OneFootball is, it's a great app / website for all things football. I personally use OneFootball, the mobile app, to check up on lineups and scores for Premier League games. You know, with all these fixtures moving places, changing around, and with FA Cup games and Champions League games all impacting our FPL seasons, basically, it's really good to have an app where you can check all of the fixtures and see what's going on around all competitions kind of thing, and I really like OneFootball for that. Of course, also has transfer news, gossip, football news, all that stuff on there, completely free, so go check it out, link at the top of my description. So a quick note on how this video works. So buys are players you probably don't have but should consider bringing into your team. Sells are players you probably have but you consider removing from your teams. Keeps are players you probably have and should keep. And finally, avoids are players you probably don't have but should also avoid bringing into your teams as well. The kind of transfer traps, the pitfalls that maybe a few people are falling into. I'm going to try and help you avoid them this game week and every other game week, guys. So yeah, as always, try and save your transfers to as late as possible unless your budget is really tight and you're worried about players sort of changing in prices and going up and down in prices. That's kind of the only reason why you would ever make an early transfer, because so much is changing so fast, and we are going to get some official fixture announcements very soon and confirm those double game weeks for game week 26. So do try and be patient, guys, but going to try and give you my best advice right now anyway. So start off with some buys, and my first buy is Danny Ings. Now, we know we need to look at some Southampton players due to their many double game weeks coming up. We know they play Chelsea and Leeds this week, and more double game weeks are coming as well, and it's possible that they could have 3 double game weeks in a row. I'm serious. Southampton could have 3 double game weeks in a row. They would play Chelsea and Leeds in game week 25, they play Everton and Spurs in game week 26, and then they play Sheffield United and Man City in game week 27. Now, how often do you get a team that plays 3 doubles in a row? It's super rare. So, you know, this is something we definitely need to take note of. So people will say some of these fixtures are tough. Okay, I can't understand that, but are they really? So Tuchel's Chelsea, they haven't been tested against a pressing team yet like Southampton, so that could kind of be interesting in game week 25. Then game week 26, you've got Spurs and Everton. A lot of people said last week when I was thinking about triple captaining Gundogan, which I did, by the way, they were saying against Spurs and Everton, no way, they're good teams, right? You'd think that Spurs and Everton are good teams, but they're both conceding so many goals right now, which means, again, Spurs, Everton, good teams to target for goals. So attacking players from Southampton could be really nice for those games. And then finally, we've got City in game week 27, doubling up with Sheffield United. Okay, fair enough. I understand City. That's a guaranteed 2-pointer, really, isn't it? You can't score against City. Nobody can. But Sheffield United is also going to be in that double, so potentially some points there. And then you just take the 2 bonus points, I guess, from that just playing in that Man City game as well. So that could be kind of okay. So when we're looking at Southampton players, where do we look? Where do we land? Look, I really think look no further than their crown jewel, Danny Ings. He really has passed the eye test recently. He's looked fantastic. Stats are important, but I don't think they do him the full justice. And, you know, you look at Danny Ings, you say, oh, he scored 1 goal, 0 assists in his last 5 games. That would put most people off, but if you look at the underlying stats, they will tell a slightly different story, a slightly more promising story. So in the last 5 for Danny Ings, 11 shots, 8 in the box, 5 on target, 3 big chances, 1.84 expected goals, 1 actual goal in there, 6 key passes, 2 big chances created, 1.33 expected assists. And he didn't even start every game there. He's not even played 4 minutes because he's just been getting back up to speed following his injury. You can also add to that the fact that he's hit the post. He's had a goal attempt cleared off the line. He had an assist ruled out for VAR. It looks really promising. Even the underlying stats, which make him look better, don't do him full justice. So this really is a really good pick. And if you've watched Ings recently, you probably kind of know what I mean. He's just the main man for goals at Southampton. He's on penalties. He's in good form. Particularly over the last 3 game weeks, he's been in a better form than players like Bamford and Ollie Watkins. If you look at just the last 3 alone, the underlying stats, I just think he's a really good risk to take if you're trying to gain rank, which I am personally. I'm going to be buying Ings a little bit because I want to raise up in the ranks. So I'm going to take the risk and I'm just going to go for him. Pour all of my money into the most expensive premium player from that Southampton team that could be having those 3 amazing doubles. Really good opportunity, guys, to get some points there. My next buy is Rafinha. You guys probably, who have been here a while, will know I'm a big fan of Rafinha. He's incredibly only owned by 3.5% of FPL managers, despite being Leeds' best player. Literally the best player to own from the Leeds team right now. And I know what you're thinking. What about Bamford? Why is Bamford not the best Leeds player? Well, since Rafinha's first start in game week 9, no player in Leeds United has scored more FPL points. He beats Bamford since game week 9, so it's a long period, a lot of data there. He beats Bamford by 3 points over this period. If you go for the last 5 game weeks, for example, Rafinha has scored 9 points more than Bamford. We can go even further though. So over the past 5 game weeks, who scored the most FPL points? Out the past 5 fixtures, which player has scored the most FPL points? Well, that's pretty easy. It's Gundogan, right? Who is second? It's our guy, Rafinha, joint with Bruno Fernandes. And, Rafinha has literally returned in every one of his past 5 games. Second most points in the last 5 fixtures. You didn't see that one coming, did you? That's pretty crazy. It's pretty decent, isn't it? So, basically, there should be a lot more love for Rafinha than there is. And when we're talking about getting in Leeds players for the double game week 25... Rafinha is kind of your guy. He plays both Wolves and Southampton in the double game week. But after that, I should warn you, there's not going to be any more doubles for Leeds. Though, an advantage is that he will have a game week 29 fixture versus Fulham. And that is going to be a horrible blank game week in game week 29. You're going to want to have at least a couple of, Leeds players in there. Rafinha should probably be the top of your priority list in terms of these Leeds players. You're probably going to just have him for this game week. You can maybe afford to bench him. He's 5.3 million, so he's cheap enough that you can afford to bench him if you don't fancy him the games between, and then just play him in game week 29. But, when a player is in this kind of form, you got to play him. He's on set pieces, which is a good advantage as well. I love him. I'm probably going to, in fact, captain him in game week 25. That's how much I rate him for this game week. But I think at the very least, you got to have him on your watch list for game week 25, right? So my first sell is Michail Antonio. I know you're probably not going to like this because he's done really well recently, but a big part of being successful on FPL is not just knowing the right time to buy a player before he explodes, and I know a lot of you guys did that with Antonio, but also the right time to sell a player before he starts to quieten down and not score so many points. Now, Antonio is about to quieten down, and that has nothing to do with his fitness. I actually think he'll play next game week versus Spurs, but here's the issue with West Ham players in general. You could kind of apply this to all West Ham players, but Antonio will play no double game weeks this game week. He'll play no double game weeks next game week. He'll play no double game weeks at any point over the next 5 game weeks, whereas a lot of other teams are. Instead, he plays Spurs this game week, right? So immediately, we know he's got no double game weeks coming up. He plays Spurs this game week. We can immediately say, okay, that's an easy switch to Danny Ings or Patrick Bamford, for example. After that, it gets a lot worse. Game week 26, 14 out of the 20 Premier League teams will have a double game week. West Ham, on the other hand, have 0 chance. So we're going to have 14 teams with attackers that are going to be having parties with 2 games, scoring goals, scoring points. Antonio is, unfortunately, going to be playing against Man City. So in game week 26... Every other forward is going to be having a little party. Antonio is going to be sat there on 2 points because he's had to play at Man City. So you're going to be really disappointed there. So if you can't afford to get Bamford or Ings for this game week, or maybe you don't want to, maybe you can go for someone who at least plays a double in game week 26. A Watkins, Calvert-Lewin, maybe Vardy, if you can afford to do that. After game week 26, West Ham have no chance of further doubles, and instead they play Man United in game week 28. They play Arsenal in game week 29. So basically, it's just a really miserable run for West Ham with no double game weeks whatsoever. And I'm talking a lot about double game weeks because they are really important. You guys will know already how important double game weeks are and how you should target them and avoid players who you know are not going to have them. And that's the kind of situation we're in right now. Antonio is quite literally one of the last forwards you will want in your fantasy team right now during this next run of 5 games. So you've got to sell him, preferably for Danny Ings. So my next sell is Bukayo Saka. We've got a kind of similar situation with Bukayo Saka. He's guaranteed to have no double game week since both Arsenal and West Ham are out of the FA Cup, which means no fixture rescheduling is going to happen. Arsenal are about to play, the impossible team of the league in Man City. We know by now that teams are just not getting anything against City. We know that FPL players who will play against City, they're never really getting more than 2 points. So this horrible fixture combined with no double game week in the immediate future means this is a great time to jump off your Arsenal players. And I guess once again, this applies to all Arsenal players. So if you have a Lacazette, maybe easy switch to Ings. If you have Leno, maybe switch to Martinez. If you have Aubameyang, well, then if you have Aubameyang, you either haven't played FPL since game week 3 or you've just knee-jerked him back in because you have no idea about the upcoming double game weeks or this horrible City fixture that the Arsenal are about to play. Honestly, if that's you, don't worry, these things happen. I can help you. Hit that subscribe button. I'll try and make sure you don't make these kind of blunders again, because that is kind of a little bit of a knee-jerk blunder that some of you guys may have made there. But no, I've picked out Saka, one, because he's the most owned Arsenal player at 9.1% ownership, and two, because he's 5.3 million, which is the identical price to Rafinha, which gives you pretty much the easiest transfer decision imaginable. Such an easy switch there. Straight swap, like for like. Except now instead of Saka, you'll have literally one of the most informed players in the Premier League who has literally got a double game week straight away. So that's really, really nice there. Please don't think I think Saka is bad, by the way. I'm an Arsenal fan. I do think he's our best player right now, to be fair. But we have no double game weeks, a horrible run of fixtures, and like I was saying, it's important to know when to jump off a player at the right time. So sell Saka, buy Rafinha. On to some keeps. We'll start off with DCL, likely to, have one of the best double game weeks of any team in the Premier League in game week 26. Because Everton, they're kind of due to play Southampton and West Brom in game week 26, which could be really nice, actually. And now DCL's injury kind of unfortunately timed, but it does sound like he should be back for game week 25. Let's wait and see on that before rushing him out the door. And if you are worried about this game week 25 fixture versus Liverpool, then perhaps you haven't watched Liverpool recently. He was in some really good form as well, DCL, before the injury. So in his last 5 games before he got injured, 9 shots, 8 in the box, an insane 7 on target. So he's really accurate with his shooting as well at the moment. 3 big chances, 2.15 expected goals, 2 goals. So slightly tiny bit underperforming there, but yeah, that's about right. And he also had a 0.51 expected assist and an assist to his name during that 5 game. Not bad overall. He's expected to get 1 goal contribution every other game. If you put him against some easier opponents, also in some double game weeks, that starts to look a little bit better, doesn't it? Now, the only reason I can kind of think of why someone might want to transfer out Calvert-Lewin is because maybe you want to get Danny Ings. Maybe that's a little bit short-sighted, but I kind of get it. Or maybe DCL is your only route out to get to Harry Kane, for example, because that's a kind of a good player to pick up as well at the moment. But aside from that, I think DCL is actually a pretty good shout, particularly for game week 26. I'd be looking forward to seeing what he can produce there. So do keep an eye on him. And yeah, if you have him, probably don't sell him. My next keep is Diaz. Please, guys, stop panic selling Diaz. Already, 44,000 FPL managers have said adios to Adias. That was a terrible joke. Why did I say that? But, for what? Because Diaz was ill for a couple of days and missed 1 game? He's still the main centre-back at City and arguably the most nailed on in their back line too. He's the most nailed on defender, playing for the best defence in the league. 6 points per game week, pretty much guaranteed. 12 points next game week when Man City play a double game week. He'll probably be back for the game against Everton in game week 24. So in game week 25, he's definitely going to be available. Now, I've tried to kind of work out what players some of you might be thinking of transferring Diaz out for and who you might want to be bringing in. And I've kind of looked at who the most popular defensive transfers in have been so far this week. So I'll list them off and try and explain to you why it's beneficial to keep Diaz over these players. So Dallas, most popular defensive pick for this game week, most transferred in. He's playing for one of the worst defences in the league. Punting on him just because he's got a double game week, perhaps. Fine, if you're transferring out another player, I kind of get why you might be tempted by Dallas, but not Diaz. Diaz over Dallas, because Diaz is going to play a double game week in literally the following week, and he will get you more points than Dallas will in his double game week this game week, for sure. So pretty short-sighted. It's a bad transfer to go Diaz to Dallas. So Cancelo, very much a sideways move, waste of a transfer, don't do it. Donk, I like the Brighton defence, but they're not better than City. Brighton also can't play a double game week in 26, City can. Bad transfer. Stones, swapping a nailed-on City defender for a slightly less nailed-on City defender. Pointless, sideways, bad transfer. Target. Diaz will outscore him over the next few game weeks. I don't mind Target as a transfer, generally speaking, but Diaz to Target is just not really the one. I don't really understand why you do that. Just make sure you continue to have this double or at least one City defender. I would try and have 2 City defenders anyway, so I don't know why you'd be jumping off City and getting onto another team. And finally, Cresswell, knee-jerk. So very knee-jerk, and possibly one of the stupidest transfers a person can make this game week, Diaz to Cresswell. I guess let's go on to that one a little bit further. So how about that for a segue, guys? So earlier I spoke about Antonio as a sell, how I don't fancy West Ham players. Let's continue the conversation with Cresswell now. This is kind of multiplied by tenfold when we start to talk about West Ham defenders. Fair enough, Cresswell has done fantastically recently. Cresswell owners, I bow down to you. You should be proud of yourself, guys. What a pick. You guys smashed it. Well done. But going forward, Cresswell is kind of literally one of the last players you would want to have in your FPL team. So when we look at defenders, it's usually best to prioritise the fixtures over the form as a rule of thumb. That's a good general rule to go by. So let's start off. Let me list out West Ham's next 5 fixtures, and you can tell me when you think the clean sheets are going to come during this run of 5 games. So, Game Week 25, Spurs. Game Week 26, Man City. Game Week 27, Leeds. Game Week 28, Man United. Game Week 29, Arsenal. So, we've kind of established that clean sheets are probably not going to be terribly frequent in the immediate future. I mean, maybe they pick up 1, but I think you'd be lucky to even get 1 in that run. And we've spoken a little bit before about double game weeks as well. West Ham guaranteed to have 0 double game weeks over the next period of games, when almost every other team in the league is guaranteed to have at least 1. Fair enough, Cresswell is a fantastic player, a great option for those set pieces. And when his fixtures are right, clean sheets too, amazing, all good in the hood. But those knee-jerking Cresswell in this game week, based on his score from last game week, you're going to be really disappointed going forward, because it's not going to happen again anytime in the immediate future. So Cresswell, avoid like the plague. Let's finish off the avoids with an FPL mate channel favourite, Che Adams. Probably, it's probably going to be an interesting one for you guys. So let me try and give my opinion on this one. So Che Adams, already he's one of the most popular forward transfers in for this game week. Okay, fair enough. I kind of get that. This isn't a knee-jerk. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Adams has not been in great form recently. He's not been at his best. But what this is corner cutting. Now, FPL managers are seeing, okay, Southampton, they've got some double game weeks coming up here. And, you know, maybe Adams is the guy to go for. Adams kind of, the problem here is, and I do like the idea. I do appreciate the idea, because Southampton we should be investing in. Adams gets rotated and benched enough as it is already. It's only going to get worse when we get to a heavily congested fixture period. You think you'll be bringing in a double game week player in Adams, but really, if Adams only plays every other game, then what you've done is you've just brought in another single game week player. So you've done the exact opposite of what you were intending to do. Now, like I said, I do appreciate the idea of bringing in Southampton players for this run. It is, in general, a very, very good idea, just because of the potential for so many doubles for Southampton. But Adams is out of form. He's not an adequate replacement for Danny Ings. In fact, my transfer this game week is likely to be Adams out and Ings in. So try and find the budget to do this properly, or if you want a Southampton player but you don't want to break the bank, maybe go for a Ward-Prowse, because at least he's nailed. He's going to be playing every game, and if he plays in doubles, that's 4 points per game week guaranteed for if he plays in these doubles. So that's really nice there. Could get the odd free kick or something like that, but at least you've got something guaranteed there, a little bit safer. Or if you want to go really risky or something, maybe go for someone like a Redmond. Super risky, but he could be kind of interested. I've been kind of keeping an eye on him a little bit. He's not standing out to me a lot, But when you add double game weeks to the maths, it kind of gets a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? So Redmond, a real risky punt, but someone you could consider, particularly if he continues playing in that forward role. But I love Che Adams, but based on his form and his recent minutes that he's been getting, I really think you could be setting yourself up for a little bit of disappointment here. So there you go. Let's do a quick summary. So summary is basically, we are looking very much at Southampton and Leeds players. These are players we like, namely Ings and Rafinha are my two favourite picks. We don't want to go for those West Ham players. And if you have got those West Ham players, now could be a good time to shift them out of your teams in favour of Southampton and Leeds players. Or maybe if you're feeling kind of interested, maybe you go for some Aston Villa or Spurs players. So there you go. Don't rush out any Man City defenders either by any means. Diaz has got to stay. Right, that's the conclusion. There we go. That's it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do smash the like button and leave a subscribe here as well if you want to stick around for some more content. I do recommend in particular the video I made on Sunday, which talks all about the potential upcoming fixtures. This is assuming that the Premier League hasn't released them all already. I did make a video on Sunday that sort of discusses strategy around the double game weeks, what double game weeks could potentially be coming up, all that kind of stuff. So really useful video there for you guys. But aside from that, guys, please do check out OneFootball if you fancy it. Link in the description. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, join my mini league, or support me by pressing the join button, or join our Discord community. There's so much, and it's all in the description if you want to get more involved with FPL, mate. We got loads of stuff available for you guys, and we were trying to build this community, aren't we? But yes, thank you for watching, guys, and I hope to see you tomorrow, where I'm going to be doing the wild card draft for Game Week 25. You guys have been begging me for a wild card draft for Game Week 25. Let's do it tomorrow. I'll see you then, guys, and yeah, I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.